One of the best and most fun ways to improve your sax playing, improvising, and even things like playing by ear is by learning to play short and simple licks. So the idea isn't to learn like a long, flashy, fast-paced lick to show off with, but rather we're going to learn some simple but core pieces of jazz language that you're then able to use and manipulate in real time as you're playing with them. Starting off with lick number 1. Now, when you're learning any lick, it's not the specific notes it uses, but how those notes relate to the chord. So this phrase starts on the 2nd degree, and then we have 1, 5, flat 3, 2, 1. And so the only notes from that minor scale that it's using is the 1, 2, flat 3, and 5. And they're a great group of notes to play around with and explore making phrases with. You can also experiment with varying the rhythms of these phrases like this. And you can incorporate these licks in your improvising. I'm going to start a phrase with that lick and then finish off the line. Alright, for the second phrase, it's literally known as the lick. Now you can start this phrase on the root of the chord, in which case you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, flat 7, 1. But another interesting variation is to start this phrase from the 5th of the minor chord. You can hear it's the same phrase, but because it's starting on a different scale degree, it has a very different quality to it. You can also play that original phrase over different chords. So for example, it'll work really well over an F major 7 chord. And you can see when you do that, you hit that more ethereal sharp 11 sound. Lick 3 is another great piece of jazz language that you hear all the time in minor keys. Now this is the first lick where we have some more chromatic notes. You can think about it in two different ways. We either have what's known as a jazz turn, where we're adding the notes, the flat 6 and the 5, before we step down to that flat 5. Or you can think of it as encircling the 5th degree by going a semitone above and down a semitone below. Alright, time for lick number 4. That sounds like this. Now with this one, we've got some real sense of forward momentum, and that's created by these 3 notes here. 3 notes of E, G sharp and B, the 5th, natural 7th and 2nd, they also create the sound of an E major triad. The E major triad is known as the 5 chord, and that 5 chord really wants to pull back to the 1. So when you use a triad like that in your line, it really pulls the ear onto that A and gives it a sense of forward momentum. Again, you can use this to build off of when you're improvising. Here's an example of me using it at the beginning of a line. Alright, the final lick for today sounds like this. Now this one's a little bit more complex in terms of theory. It's using something called an enclosure. Essentially what we're doing is targeting that root note by approaching it from above and below, and we're getting closer and closer to it. So we start on the flat 3, down to that flat 7, then we go a little bit closer to the natural 7, before jumping above to the 2nd. This is similar to that triad we found in the previous line. What it's doing is essentially creating forward momentum. And this is a great phrase that you can take through different keys. The way I like to learn it is take it around the cycle of fifths. For example, we can take it from A minor to D minor and then G minor. And you can continue on if you want, going all the way around the cycle. And learning it in a few different keys is really great for your technique. It's really good for your scale knowledge as well. And by keeping these phrases nice and short, just 1 measure long, or even just half a measure, it makes it much more manageable. And that makes it far more usable when you're actually improvising. Don't forget to grab that free PDF for alto and tenor sax. The link is down below. And also over at Online Sax Academy, we have a 14-day free trial where you can try out all the courses, all the content on the site, completely for free for 14 days to see if it's right for you. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you guys soon.